Welcome to the channel, where the world unfolds one story at a time. From the hidden forces shaping global politics to the breakthroughs transforming science, technology, and space, we break down complex ideas into stories that are clear, engaging, and thought-provoking. Here, history connects with today's headlines, and the biggest events in our world become stories you can truly understand. So if you're curious about the world and the forces shaping our future, you're in the right place, and buckle up. Billions of dollars. That's how much Coca-Cola spends every year on advertising. But here's the strange part. They almost never try to sell you the drink itself. Instead, they sell something else. Happiness, friendship, Christmas, family. But behind one of the most recognizable brands in human history is a story filled with war, politics, secret deals, health controversies, and one of the biggest marketing disasters ever. So how did Coca-Cola become a global empire? And what did it cost to get there? Today, Coca-Cola is consumed more than 2 billion times every single day. Its red logo is recognized by over 90% of the world's population. But the story of Coca-Cola didn't begin with global happiness. It began with addiction, medicine scams, and cocaine. And over the next century, the company would grow into one of the most powerful brands on earth, while leaving behind a trail of controversies few people ever talk about. In the late 1800s, America was obsessed with something called patent medicine. These were miracle tonics that promised to cure everything: headaches, fatigue, depression. The problem? Most of them were completely fake. And one of the most popular medicines at the time was a drink called Vin Mariani. It was made from two ingredients: wine and cocaine. People believed it boosted energy and cured illnesses. One man who loved this drink was a chemist and Civil War veteran named John Pemberton. Pemberton had been seriously wounded in battle and became addicted to morphine after doctors treated his pain. Desperate to escape the addiction, he began experimenting with chemical mixtures. In 1884, he created his own version of Vin Mariani. He called it French wine coca. But then something happened that changed everything. Prohibition laws began spreading across the United States. Alcohol was being banned, so Pemberton removed the wine and replaced it with carbonated water. The drink now tasted terrible, so he added a massive amount of sugar. And just like that, the modern Coca-Cola was born. The name Coca-Cola came from two ingredients: the coca leaf and the cola nut. One contained caffeine, the other contained cocaine. For years, the drink still used coca leaves. And although the active cocaine would later be removed, the early formula absolutely contained it. But surprisingly, the drink wasn't popular at first. Pemberton struggled to sell it as a medicine. And before he could see its success, he died in 1888. He had no idea his invention would become one of the most powerful brands in human history. Shortly before his death, Pemberton sold the company for about $2,300. The buyer was a businessman named Asa Candler, and Candler understood something critical. Coca-Cola wasn't just a drink, it was an idea. So he launched one of the most aggressive marketing campaigns the world had ever seen. Coca-Cola logos appeared everywhere, on buildings, on signs, on barns. Then he tried something revolutionary: coupons. Free Coca-Cola coupons were mailed to people so they could try the drink. The idea was simple. If people tasted it once, they might drink it forever. And it worked. Sales exploded. But Coca-Cola's biggest breakthrough was still coming. One day, two lawyers approached Asa Candler with a strange proposal. They wanted permission to bottle Coca-Cola. At the time, Coca-Cola was only served at soda fountains. Candler thought bottling was a terrible idea, so he agreed to license the bottling rights for just $1. There was only one problem. The contract had no expiration date. That meant Coca-Cola would be forced to supply syrup to bottlers forever at the same price. The deal eventually cost the company millions of dollars in legal battles to fix. But by then, Coca-Cola had already become unstoppable. Then came World War II. Sugar was being rationed. Most companies had to reduce production. But Coca-Cola convinced the US government their drink was essential for soldiers. And somehow, they were granted a special exemption. Even more surprising, Coca-Cola promised every American soldier could buy a Coke for 5 cents, no matter where they were stationed. To make this possible, Coca-Cola built 64 bottling plants around the world during the war. The US military essentially became a global marketing force for the drink. when soldiers shared Coca-Cola with locals overseas. The brand spread across the planet. But there was one uncomfortable detail. While Coca-Cola supported American troops, the company was also still operating in Nazi Germany. When syrup shipments stopped during the war, German Coca-Cola managers created a new drink using leftover ingredients: apple scraps, fruit fibers, whatever they could find. That drink would later be called Fanta. By the late 20th century, Coca-Cola had perfected a strategy called cradle-to-grave marketing. The idea was simple: hook customers when they're young. Schools signed exclusive contracts allowing only Coca-Cola products in vending machines. Movies featured Coca-Cola product placement. Christmas advertising linked Coca-Cola with Santa Claus. Even children's toys carried the Coca-Cola logo. The result? Many kids recognized the Coca-Cola brand before they could even read. But then the company faced a new problem: science. By the 1980s, research began linking sugary drinks to obesity, diabetes. Tooth decay studies showed that just one extra sugary drink per day dramatically increased the risk of becoming overweight. For a brand built on happiness and positivity, this was dangerous. So the soda industry adopted a familiar strategy: not to disprove the science, but to create doubt. Millions of dollars were spent funding studies that minimized the health risks of sugary drinks. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola continued sponsoring athletes and sporting events to associate the brand with fitness and energy. But another crisis was about to hit, and it came from an unexpected rival. In 1975, Pepsi launched a brilliant marketing campaign. They invited people to taste 2 cups of cola: one Pepsi, one Coca-Cola. Participants didn't know which was which. The results shocked Coca-Cola executives. More people chose Pepsi. Suddenly, Coca-Cola feared the unthinkable. Their drink might not taste the best. So they made a decision that would explode into one of the biggest marketing disasters in history. They changed the formula. In 1985, Coca-Cola replaced its original formula with something called New Coke. Blind taste tests showed people liked it more. But the reaction from the public was immediate and furious. Thousands of angry calls flooded Coca-Cola offices. People protested. Letters poured in. Some said changing the drink was like changing a piece of American history. One person wrote, "You've taken away my childhood." The backlash was so intense that Coca-Cola reversed the decision just months later. The original drink returned as Coca-Cola Classic. And suddenly, sales exploded. Here's the strange twist. Even after all the taste tests, even after all the research, most people still preferred the original Coca-Cola. Not because it tasted better, but because of what it represented. For over a century, Coca-Cola had embedded itself into memories: Christmas mornings, family gatherings, summer afternoons. The company wasn't really selling a drink, it was selling a feeling, and that might be the greatest marketing achievement ever created. Because in the end, the real secret behind Coca-Cola isn't the formula, it's the story people believe about it.